Yo, what up, everybody? It's DL Stewart. This is going to be just a quick little video. Um, Hopefully. um, I got the idea just a while back, talked to my wife about some stuff, and I've seen some other booktubers and author tubers do a video about spoilers. So I figured I would kind of go ahead and put my take in on it and my views, I guess, of the matter of spoilers. So yeah, let's get into it. First, I want to just mention my personal opinion on spoilers. I don't care if people spoil stuff from me. I don't care if, it's a show, a book, a movie, whatever. I am the type of person who will go in and look up all of the information beforehand, just so I know kind of what to expect. So I don't really care for spoilers too much, or if somebody spoils stuff for me, it doesn't bother me any. I know I do that, and like me and my wife will be watching a show, and I will go online and look up all the spoilers and stuff that I can find about it. She doesn't want to know it, but I don't mind knowing it, so I'll go ahead and look it up. And then she's like, "Well, that just kind of spoils it because you already know what's happening." I was like, "So at least I know what to expect." And then she's like, "Well, I want to be surprised when it happens." And this and that. I was like, I feel like I'm just as surprised when it happens. And so, but you already know what's going to happen. I was like, yeah, but I was surprised when I read it. So I feel like I'm getting the same enjoyment and the same shock out of reading a spoiler or hearing a spoiler previously from actually watching or reading it. I feel like I still have that same enjoyment out of it. And also with just hearing somebody talk about or reading a spoiler of a show, you still don't really know exactly what's happening. You know what's going to happen, but it's still, very visual. If it's like a show or a movie or something or a video game or whatever, you know, you're still experiencing the visual aspects of it. And if it's a book, if you hear somebody talking about it, you still actually get to engulf yourself in the environment and the words and such. So it's still, to me, I still feel, a sense of enjoyment, even if I do get spoiled beforehand. When I watch it, I still feel a sense of enjoyment out of it. But I've got my notebook here, and I made some key points to kind of make sure I kind of stay focused on this video. So yeah, let's go get into it. The rest of this video is basically what I see as a spoiler and what I don't see as spoilers. I know everybody's kind of got their own opinion, and I've seen videos and other people talking about certain things that they don't really classify my views of a spoiler as theirs. They don't want to be spoiled at all in certain areas, and others they're more lenient. So yeah. The first one is specific spoilers. I feel like these are spoilers, that I figure most people would classify as spoilers. Like a specific character's death, or the way the story ends, and certain things like that. Something very specific to the story or to a character. But for like, if you have a horror novel or book or whatever, and somebody says that there's death in it, I don't feel like that is a spoiler. Actually going in saying this character dies or this character dies would be a spoiler because that's more specific. But if it's just the genre of horror and you mention that there's going to be a death, it's horror, so you should expect there to be death. I mean, that just kind of goes with the genre. Other genre non-spoilers, I feel, is like if you say that there's a twist in like a mystery novel or a thriller or something like that. This just kind of goes with the the category that goes with the genre. You should expect it. If you say that there's a bunch of twists, maybe not so much. But just the fact that there is a twist, or saying that the very ending has a twist, or a specific area or a specific event is a twist, that could be a spoiler. But just the fact that there is a twist in those genres is not. Same thing with mentioning that there is some form of magic in a fantasy novel. I feel like that should just be a given for fantasy, Not every fantasy directly involves magic. Some, more subtle than others. but just the thoughts of magic being in a fantasy novel should just kind of be a given, or an alien race or something appears in a sci-fi. You know, that's just part of the genre. I don't feel like that stuff is spoilers. And then same thing with the tropes and cliches. You know, some of them, there's a line, I guess. Some I feel like could be spoilers, some not. Like insta love or love triangles, I don't feel like that is a spoiler. That's just, you know, a trope that's used, but I don't really feel like that actually takes away from the story too much, unless the story is just based off of a love triangle. But even then, you should know that pretty well going into the book if that's what it is directly based off of, so it's still not a spoiler. Or the trope of, you know, the chosen one, you know, this person who came up from nothing is supposed to be this, you know, all powerful wizard or whatever, you know. I don't feel like that's a spoiler because that's just kind of a trope that's done a lot, and you know, it really doesn't really give into the story any, except that the fact that that person is supposed to be this great being of some sort, but it doesn't really tell you how it ends or anything else about it. It's just a trope that, you know, they used. So the tropes that I feel are a spoiler is like the "it was all a dream," because that kind of goes into how the story ends. So that could be a spoiler, as well as maybe the resurrection trope, because then if somebody dies in the story, you're like, well, they probably will be coming back. You know, you already know that somebody is going to die and then be resurrected, in a sense. So, you know, giving that away maybe be a bit spoilery. So, as well as a character's development, if you say that they have a good or bad character arc, or you know, they become more likable throughout the story, I don't feel like that is a spoiler because you're still not really saying why they're becoming more likable, or you know, really what kind of arc they have. It's just, you know, yeah, it's a good arc, which most characters should have a good arc, especially main characters or villains and stuff. So I don't really feel like that is giving away a spoiler. Same thing with plot development. If you say you like the plot development, you like the pacing, that's not a spoiler. That's just saying that the book is good, in a sense, or at least you like those aspects of the story. Or endings, you know, you can have an open or a clean ending or loose ending or something like that. I don't feel like that is too much of a spoiler. But if you mention why it's loose, or you know exactly how it became a clean ending, or you know whatever, that I could see being a spoiler. So those are my opinions. And the reason why I'm first started kind of talking about this with my wife is an experience I had with my own book, talking to somebody, and they was telling me that I was spoiling it too much for them, and it was because I mentioned that Lord Brighton dies and that there's a war. The reason why I mentioned that, if y'all don't know anything about my book, is because that is the setup of the story. If you read the blurb on the back, it mentions that the former Lord of Metagore dies, a new's elected, Grand Dukes become, you know, kind of disgruntled about it, and then a war breaks out. That is the setup of the story. The story is more political and covers the entirety of the war and all this. So I don't feel like that is a spoiler. It says it on the blurb. You know, you don't even have to read any of it, and you already know that that happens. So to me, that's not a spoiler. If it is on the blurb, it's not a spoiler. As well as all that takes place within the first 4 chapters. And I look at my book as anything that happens in those first 4 chapters is not a spoiler, because that's the setup to the book. And then the rest after that would be classified spoilers. You know, who dies in the war, who wins the war, you know, other events that happen, you know, other people that die, these side plots and how they are intertwined with other things maybe. That stuff I could see as being spoiler. But what actually sets the story off, you know, that very beginning, what kind of sets everything in motion, to me is not a spoiler. So that's my opinion. Like I said, y'all might have different views, different opinions. You know, I'd be willing to hear them, see them, whatever. Go ahead and comment down below. Let me know. You know, yeah, I don't care. But yeah, that's about it. All my links are down below. I got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube. Patreon. I forget about that half the time, so I got that. A website, a newsletter, and a blog. You can go click on all those links down below and check all that out. I also have a list of other author tubers down there. You can go check them out, subscribe to them, you know, watch some of their videos. They're pretty cool. As well as a list of live write-in streams or whatever. If y'all ever want to participate in those, I got scheduled down below with who's doing what and, you know, what times and yada yada yada. So you can go check all that out. My debut novel, The Battle for Metagore, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books Depository, Indigo, IndieBound, and a bunch of other places. All those links are also down below. So you can go check all that out. The ebook is currently available on Amazon for 99 cents, so you can go check that out and read it and see if you like it. And if you don't really feel dedicated to buying it yet, just because you don't know my writing style or if I'm any good, you can go to my website and there's a link on there where you can read the opening scene to get an idea for it. Or if you want a little bit more, you can sign up to my newsletter, which is on my website. Also links down below, and you can sign up to my newsletter and you'll get sent the first 2 chapters of the book to you for free, and you can read that to see if you like it or not. So yeah, that's about it. Peace out. Yelly. Everybody love everybody.